Hello and welcome to Women That Shred. Today we're shredding with Josh Pitts, which I'm sure anybody that's going to pop in is already going to know who you are. So they're going to be like super fangirling over you right now.
I don't know about that. Plus, I'm like, my hair isn't as long as it was a little while ago. So we cut the hair so that they're not the flowing locks. But I'm so grateful and humble to be hanging out with you this morning because let's just be honest. Like, you're one of those, you have made Women That Shred it what it is. And the conversations, I don't even want to call it an audience, the community that you are building is so brilliant. So when you said, hey, do you want to be on with me this morning? I'm like, yes, let's do this. Let's have some fun with it. And let's talk about it.
Yeah, well, that's what's so cool is that, I had a guest lined up. She's MIA. I don't know what happened. She said she was all excited. And so how cool is it that Dow was able to call you and say, hey, can you hop on with Raquel? So that's really cool because you easily could have been like, yeah, no, sorry, just cancel.
Heck no.
One woman show.
No, there's so many women that you impact through this show. I'm like, hey, anything I can do, if I can jump in and we can have a valuable conversation, let's do this. Because again, right now more than ever, and something that, you and I can even discuss more is like, now's the time to be going all in, to be putting yourself out there more, to be showing up, especially when it comes to the attention of social media. And this show you've built to just that. People, the women of this industry expect Raquel to be here. So we can't let them down.
Well, so let's talk about Women That Shred and how it was born because it was your idea. You're the one that came to me and asked me to host it, but it's your baby essentially. So I want to hear how it all came about. Let's do the origin here.
I mean, this is really interesting because as our team has grown, as we've looked for opportunities to reach more of our community. I hate the word audience or our community because we are a family. We're a community. We support one another. We help one another in our industry. I started to look at, the people that we weren't able to reach, the people that maybe could, again, be able to maybe relate with a little bit more, which again, I know I'm not as beautiful as Raquel. I know, lady, I get it. But that's why we wanted to kind of step outside of of my own comfort level. And I said, hey, let's add some, let's bring somebody else in who has the energy, the enthusiasm, the knowledge, and the reputation, the relationships that you do, Raquel. And as we started putting the idea of this show together, we said, who could it be? And again, we had a lot of, we kind of put some feelers out there and we were just kind of wondering, who could honestly, from a truly service way, be able to have discussions, to share the value that we could. John Hill coming in this morning, Shred, Monkeypox. What up, John Hill?
I love
John. Speaking of beautiful women in the industry, John, just kidding. But it really came from a place of like, how can we build our community? How can we have somebody come in aside from myself and be able to add value? And Raquel, like literally, it was like Raquel can do this. We had been watching from afar. I had fangirled over you. And I was a super fan, as Brittany Hodak likes to say. I'm like, I was a super fan of Raquel because here it is. You were doing the things we were talking about, what you have to do to build a brand, to show up, to be seen in this industry, to have attention. You were doing them. You were doing them from such a genuine place too. You weren't trying to get attention. You weren't trying to say, look at me, look at me, look at me. You just were doing it. You were just sharing the things that you loved. You were sharing the things that you were passionate about, from your kids to your job to everything in between. You were truly practicing what we preach. And I said, who better? Like, why wouldn't we have Raquel do this? This just totally makes sense because, and plus you had this reputation in the industry as well. It's just like, let's do this. And you've done so brilliantly. I to this day, I'm out at conferences. I'm speaking. People come up to me and they say, hey, I love Women That Shred. Like, I love Raquel, how she hosts. And they're just like, she's herself. She's unapologetically her. Like, is it always perfect? No, but like she gives us permission to mess up as well. So that's the origin. And that's how we ended up choosing you. I don't even like say choosing because it just came into place. Like I couldn't think of a better host now than you, Raquel.
Oh, well, I remember when you reached out to me and we had the phone call, I was like freaking out because, I've told you this, that yeah, from afar, when I first got on, well, I've been on LinkedIn for a while, but when I was really being intentional about the people that I was connecting with, you were one of the first people that really had a persona online, and you were doing marketing and media within the mortgage industry. Like you were the only one. And so I thought, okay, this guy's like super cool. Oh my gosh. And then here it's funny how it's like this full circle. Like probably what, 3 years, maybe 3-4 years now
At least.
we've been talking. So it's really cool. So I tell people all the time, right? Be patient. You never know like how these relationships will pan out and how the opportunities will arise from putting yourself out there. You know, I was talking about this yesterday about the show, and the opportunity that it was given to me was because I was on other live shows and doing podcasts and, you know, showcasing, I guess, a skill that I didn't really know that I had, to be honest. Like I knew I liked to talk, but there's
100%.
difference, you know, talking and then actually kind of hosting and paying attention to your guest and
Well, not just hosting, but adding value that you do, the way that you do it. Again, having these conversations, showing and leading by example is the biggest part of it. Thus, again, when we first met 4 years ago, we were friends. Like, I saw you from afar. I admired you from afar. You saw it, vice versa. And again, now we're 4 years into this, and it still breaks my heart that so many people haven't even listened to what we've said. Now more than ever is like, you should be doing this because you never know what's going to come of it. Like, look how our relationship, now that you're part of, you know, the Women That Shred and you're hosting this, you never know what opportunity is just around the corner from putting yourself out there, from using this little device to, you know, content creation, content marketing is the number one, like literally number one, most underutilized, most looked over thing in our entire industry. And whether you love creating content, whether you look at it in that way, it is absolutely bar none. This is absolutely, it's truly something that I wish more people would do. Hopefully they do in the future, because now is the time. And again, Raquel, as you see, what's so fun about it is you're such a great example because you just do what you do. Like you just have great conversations, and like you're amazing at it. So many of us overthink the process. We have to stop overthinking it and just have fun with it. Have great discussions with amazing women like you do.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was like telling you the other day, that for me, I had an idea of that, you know, I wanted to showcase women in a different light, because I feel like a lot of the women within the industry feel like they have to kind of hold back a lot because they maybe want to come across a certain way, or they think they have to, when I don't think you do really anymore. And so for me, I just wanted to talk to women, and it's just kind of cool because I didn't overthink it. I honestly was like, Raquel, just see where this goes, because it could have been a total bust. We could not be having this conversation right now because you could have canceled my show.
I would never do that.
You're like, we are not renewing season 2.
No, there's going to be a season 2, season 3, season 4. This is going to be one of those that, again, that is so incredibly valuable. And there have been so many women, and again, stuff like this happens where guests, you know, things come up. We all understand life happens, but this is one of those shows when going back to the origin of it, as I started to look at what was needed in this industry, this is it. It's having more valuable discussions, especially from the women of impact from our industry, being able to share those discussions, share those stories, and again, do it in the way that you do, Raquel. Again, I've told you this before in person. I'll say here, you and I, this is not coming from don't take this at all arrogance. We have a gift. And our gift, we are able to share it with people. We're able to have discussions. We're able to do something. And all of us have it within us. We just have to, sometimes it takes somebody else to pull it out. It just takes a little bit more to help us get over that fear, to get over that little, maybe that timidness. And you have that incredible gift of gab, as I like it. You have that gift of being able to inspire others and share stories from people and pull stories out of people that others don't. So you have an amazing gift. And that's, again, why you've been such an amazing host. And there will be seasons upon seasons to come, because this is one of those things that, again, it changes lives. Being able to do this in the way that we do truly changes lives.
No, it does. And it was really cool because last week I had an actual coworker of mine who was just starting to do video on social media. But I mean, I told her, and she knows it, she's kind of the extreme where she's incredibly transparent and vulnerable, like really. But it was so awesome because yesterday she messaged me and she was just like over the moon because she started now seeing like a ton of views and the engagement, and she started to see that uptick in her business. And you could tell she's just like so genuinely excited about it because she really is putting her heart and soul into it and just putting herself out there. And she's inspiring other women who happen to be single mothers and going through divorces and everything. And so it's just like an example of someone that was just so scared to just put herself out there. And now, like, she is realizing the impact she's, having on other people. So I love that I was able to impact and inspire her, and then here she's doing it herself for others, and it's just a ripple effect. And that's what I was trying to explain yesterday. It was funny because I was giving a presentation about social media and branding, and one of the questions was, how do you actually market yourself? Like, are you like, I guess he was kind of confused about how I talk about social media marketing through my social media when I'm not really doing it. Like, because we have people on social media that give the actual tools, right? Like, there are people that will explain how to do reels or how hashtags work. And I told him, I said, I try to lead by example. Like, I just do it. Like, I'm not telling you how to do it. Like, I'm showing you, if I show up with no makeup on in a video, rolled out of bed, I don't have to tell you that. I'm just showing you, like, hey, it's okay to show up, like, in that moment like that. And so I guess that's how I just kind of do things, is just leading by example.
Well, and that's the best way
Yeah.
to do them. Like, again, and that's why you're such a great host. That's why you're one of those people that why we chose you, is because so many people they overthink, like, well, I have to have the makeup on. I have to have this scripted. I have to have this perfectly laid out. Well, when you don't, you just get out there, you be you share the things that you're passionate about, the things that you're excited about, and ultimately it will come through as valuable to your community. Like, again, your community are surrounding you. They're around you because, again, you are you. We're each individual, like the people who we are. And we have to start accepting that that's okay. Like, we don't have to be, you mentioned a persona, you mentioned an influencer. No, like, just be you, like, have fun with it. Share the things that you're excited about, share the things. And more often than not, you don't even have to talk about mortgage. You don't talk about real estate. You don't talk about those things. They will eventually come through. I've shared my story many times about, sharing the outdoors, sharing hiking, biking, fishing, just sharing the things that I was passionate about, sharing my family. And I've built relationships and I've got opportunities from just sharing that out on social media that I never would have. So don't overthink it. Don't, when I tell people, when you're trying to create content or when you're trying to tell your story from a career standpoint, it's way more difficult and it's not as fun when just telling your story from a you standpoint. Yes, your career is part of it, but you are so much more intriguing. You are so much more, like, interesting than your job that you do.
Yeah, I know. I tell people, yesterday with a bunch of the real estate agents, I was like, you have to think about when people are scrolling through social media and all you're showcasing is your business and your job, eventually people are just going to, like, tune you out, right? And most people aren't buying and selling homes. Like, the majority, they're not. So I was like, just start sharing who you are as a person so they connect with you because they like you and they feel that there's some commonality in there. And then once they want to buy or sell a home, then they'll be like, I already like this person because I already feel like I know them.
100%.
So it's that.
Well, here's the crazy
it though, right?
Yeah. Well, that's the craziest thing of it all, is you don't even have to be good. Like, and I don't mean that. You just have to be okay, especially with our world, especially the world of mortgage right now. With the mortgage advisors are a commodity, like, plain and simple. Like, if you don't understand that, you're just dead wrong. Like, and I'm sorry to say it, but you are. And if you're not showing up on this device, if you're not showing up in front of your community, somebody else is. Somebody else is going to take the initiative. They're going to see the opportunity. And again, you only have to show up maybe once a week. People overthink it. They hear Gary Vaynerchuk talk about, you need 100 pieces of content. I'm like, nah, all you need is one. Like, you just need to be showing up more than your competitors showing up. That's it. Like, plain and simple. And right now the bar is freaking low. It's so low that, like, now is the time to, like, okay, if I just do a little bit more, you have to be 1% better than your competitor. And the 1% right now is damn easy to be better than. So anyway, that's my rant for the day. See, that's why they don't let me be on this show, is because I just get off on these rants and tangents and they're like, oh, here we go.
So funny. But that's another thing too that I want to, like, also talk about, is that even us, right? That we do social media, we're marketing, even for ourselves, like doing this show, like, a lot of times, there might be moments where nobody's showing up on the live show, but then later is the replay. And then, I know we could be sitting here going, there's nobody showing up, like, oh my gosh, and get in our heads. But like, that's something also that I've learned to just kind of be like, hey, you know what? Like, you got to just continue to do your thing, continue to be consistent, continue to just, do the best you can. And then at some point, it might pick up, it might not, because I think that's another thing too with a lot of people. They think that right away they're supposed to see some kind of result from showing up. And a lot of times it takes years. I know, for instance, with me and LinkedIn, I've been on there 8-9 years, and just, the fact that I got a LinkedIn hoodie from LinkedIn the other day was like, I felt like finally, after 8-9 years, but it's just that my time came a little bit later, and that's okay. But it's realizing that, you got to work at it, and you got to just be patient, and not just let it affect you, and it'll affect your confidence and affect your ego in a sense, right? Because
well, this is one thing that is so incredibly relevant. What you said right in the last 2 minutes is so much deeper than I think any of us can even start to fathom right now. Because whether you get I've never got a LinkedIn hoodie. See, that's how cool Raquel is. Like, and we've been doing we were one of the first we actually were the first company in mortgage approved for LinkedIn Live. Like, Shred was the first one. I remember it to the day that we got approved for LinkedIn Live. But to your point, you may never. What is it you're actually trying to achieve? What is it your goal? Are you just trying to show up for your audience? Like, are you just trying to show up are you trying to build new relationships? Just a matter of going back what you just said and going back to what I was saying a second ago. All you have to do is just keep showing up. Yeah. Like, whether you get a LinkedIn hoodie, whether you don't, whether you have 1,000 people see you, whether you have 10,000 people see you, or you have 2 people see you, it doesn't matter. Because again, even those 2 people, you're making a difference in their life for. And that's what's so critically important about what we do, and the content of sharing the things that we do, is because the best example, you and I, when, 20 minutes ago, when we didn't have a guest show up, you're like, hey, can you do this? We didn't have a script. We didn't have anything ready to go. What you and I are talking about are the things that we enjoy, the things that we're passionate about, the things that we know can be valuable to others. Same thing. All of you out there have something that you enjoy. We love this. This is what you and I love, Raquel. These are the things that we enjoy doing. So we could talk about it for hours upon hours upon hours. Find that thing that you're so excited about and so passionate about. And I promise you, it's not mortgage. Like, mortgage can be a piece of it. Real estate can be a piece of it. Tech can be a piece of it. But find what you could talk about day in and day out. If you just had to hit the camera on, if you just had to take this little device and say, okay, well, I have something I can share about this certain subject, do that. Have that be your base foundation of what you're going to start creating content. And it can be anything. It can be gardening. It can be sewing. It can be hiking, biking. It could be just going for walks. If you love going for walks, maybe you're a bird watcher, maybe you're a nature lover, whatever it is. We all have our passions outside. Like, you just talk about those things. Maybe it is your kids. Maybe you're a single mom. Maybe you're a parent going through difficult things. Talk about something that you really love to talk about. That's it. Now you're going to build the community.
80s. So I've got my ET t-shirt. So, like, that's something I love to talk about too. 80s
maybe you love movies. Maybe you love music. Like, you could go and create a great content around 80s music, 90s music, movies in the 80s that everybody like totally misunderstood. There's so many ideas that you could just, again, and that could be such a fun conversation for your community. You can bring on other guests. Say, hey, let's talk about your favorite 80s movie. Heck, you could say, hey, we're going to watch a movie and then we're going to come back in a week and discuss it. Again, people just, they stop. They overthink this, and they think they have to talk about their profession. They think they have to talk about their career, and you just don't. I promise you. Like, as a matter of fact, the more you don't, the better you will become.
Yeah. And not only that, like I say this all the time, let the audience decide if they want to follow you or if they resonate with you, right? Like, I think a lot of people too go, oh, but I don't want people to get sick of me. And I don't want people to be like, oh my God, here she goes again, or here he goes again. Well, I'm like, let them decide. Right? Like, I have a girlfriend of mine who was doing like a brand ambassador for, how they have like coffees and everything. And she just kept saying, but I don't want to, put myself out there. And what if people think this or think that? I'm like, then let them think it, because you'd be surprised how many people will actually want to try your product. And she was like, oh my gosh, Raquel, you're right. Like, I was like, why are you deciding whether they like something about you or not? Like, I don't understand. Like,
You can't control what others think or what they do. And as a matter of fact, like I love when people are like, hey, I stopped watching your content. And I'm like, okay, cool. Thanks. I appreciate you stopped watching it, because clearly like it wasn't resonating for you. Maybe there was a time. But again, if you're talking about something you're passionate about, that's what community, the difference. And I spoke about this last week at a cross country event. There's this difference between audience and community. Audience is who you talk to. Audience is who you talk to or at. Community is who you talk with. That is a very profound difference. Community is who you talk with. That's who you're having those conversations. Like you said, your community who's giving you valuable feedback. They're the ones that you want to bring on the show with you. They're the ones that you want to have those conversations with. If you're just talking at your audience, it's you're trying to sell. People tune into that real quick. And if you're just trying to talk at people, that's when they're like, hey, I don't want to listen anymore. Like, I'm done. Like, you just keep talking at me. You're not involving me in this. That's not what I'm interested in. So build a community, talk with them. Conversate with them. It will make things so much more enjoyable, I promise.
Oh yeah. I mean, even with my presentations, like I have a PowerPoint just to kind of guide me, but essentially I'm like, all right, what do you guys want to know? Like, any questions? Like, because this is about them, right? Like at the end of the day, I think we forget that it is about the audience, or your following or your community as well. And so for me, it's like really important to get their feedback and to hear what they have to say.
Yeah.
And then you'd be surprised how many people like want to be heard. Like they get so excited when you're like, hey, tell me about what, they're like, what, you want to hear what I have to say? Like, you care about my opinion? It's like, yes, I do.
As a matter of fact, yes.
And so that's like really important too, is making sure that you're engaging with your community, because it's amazing how many posts or people I see that have these big personas and people are constantly engaging on their content and they don't ever respond. Like, nothing. And I'm like,
miss.
Yeah, like I was talking about that yesterday. I'm like, it's really important to engage with those that are supporting you and our fans and our, your cheerleaders and so forth. Like, if they're taking the time and energy to comment, especially something insightful, like there's people that will comment like a whole little paragraph. And if you're not responding to that or at least acknowledging it, like, I don't think that's cool.
It's even more offensive when like I will take the time to write out something to somebody and then they just like it. It's like, wait a second, I just took all this time and all you're going to do is hit the like button. And this is such a critical point too that you just said. Community, they engage with each other. That's the difference between community and audience. Audience, again, they're just like, they're along for the ride. Community, if you're part of a community, think about your close friends relationship. We always talk about you are who you surround yourself with. Your community engages with you. If somebody, if I'm sitting in a room with you, Raquel, and I you and I are having a conversation and I comment to you something and you just give me a thumbs up, I'm like, what the hell, Raquel? Like, are we part of it? Like, are we having this conversation or not here? So to your point, you have to be willing to engage. I'm guilty of this as well. Like, it's something we all need to be better at. But that's what truly builds a community, is being engaging, sharing thoughts, being valuable to what others are in need of. So yeah, I think that is an absolute critical point.
Well, and it's a way, like Brittany, I love Brittany Hodak with her whole super fans, right? Like, it's creating those people that are going to be with you for forever, right? Like they're your ride or die community. And, even when I went out on my own, right before COVID, when you do you change your position or whatever, I did it on purpose because I wanted people to know that I was out on my own. But the amount of people that congratulated me and sent me messages, when I knew it was a personalized congratulations, I went ahead and I remember like a good Friday night and a Saturday morning just responding to everybody, because that's how you build those super fans, right? Like 100%. Those people that are going to support you. And I think that's the reason why I've been able to kind of transition throughout these last 8-9 years on social media, and transition it in a way where no one's has criticized me for anything. They're just actually excited to be along with along my journey. And I do get that a lot, where everyone's like, I love seeing your journey and I love seeing you evolve. But those are the people that I've also put, time and energy into as well. And so it's really cool when you do something completely different. Everyone's like, I don't care. Like, I'm still going to support you. Right. And so that's like something I think a lot of people forget as well, because especially in the industry, a lot of loan officers switch companies.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. Like, if you switch and they don't really like you, they're gonna go, you know what I mean? Like we always talk about that. Like it doesn't really matter what company you work for. At the end of the day, it's about you.
It's you.
Yeah. So that's why a lot of times with what's going on right now, for instance, Josh, I don't know what you see, but I feel like right now, because of the market shifting, now people that are mortgage companies that are not really doing marketing or haven't really stepped things up, like these loan officers are like, I gotta go somewhere else where they're going to help me with that. And those companies are also very kind of like forward thinking in that respect, right? Because now you have to stand out even more so. And so I think we're going to see a lot of these companies that really didn't take their marketing seriously or take that or really invest in their loan officers and their marketing as well. Like I think we're going to see a lot of that this year.
We're gonna see more and more of that. I mean, we're halfway through the year, and I think this is just starting to play. We're seeing a lot of shift with LOs who are looking for that. They want a company who supports them in that. And again, if companies are so short-minded, and I'll call you out, like I really will. If you're so short-minded to hold your loan officers or your mortgage advisors who are there in the trenches working, if you're so short-minded to think that them building their own brand is not good for you and your brand, you're absolutely dead wrong. You should champion, you should advocate the hell out of like, hey, our LOs should be out there. They should be building the Raquel Borras brand. They should be building the Josh Pitts brand, because ultimately the loans are what's coming through us. You as a company should be worried about building your brand. Like if you're worried about your LOs not helping you build your own brand, you're totally thinking about it wrong. You have a team, you have marketing, you have like an entire marketing division focused on helping you and your team, but you should also have people focused on helping their LOs, like helping your originators ultimately achieve what they want, helping them achieve, attention on these bad boys. Then you're missing the boat. They're going to go somewhere else. There are companies, again, I've been speaking with a lot of them. We've been working with a lot of them. A lot of these companies are primed. They're setting up opportunities to really help their originators. So it's going to be interesting. And you and I are going to help them through it all. I love it.
Yeah, well, that's what I love about my position is that I have the opportunity to do that. I'm not just doing like marketing, on the back end. Like I'm actually helping loan officers with their brand and their social media presence, and our partners too, right? Like, if we have we partner up with real estate agents, same thing. Like I want to help their agent because it helps, it goes hand in hand. But like I was watching the clip of you and Joe Wilson. I love the two of you together, by the way.
Thank you.
Oh my God, I love him. And yeah, you guys were talking about like, hey, if the company's not going to support that LO and their personal brand, and then they'll just go somewhere else where they are going to feel supported, because there are companies out there that see the value in that.
There's huge value in it. Like, again, if I was back in the trenches originating, I would go somewhere that totally supported me building my brand, that had the tools, that had the resources. That's, even if they didn't have tools or resources, as long as they're championing me building my brand, I'm all in. That's who I'm going to work with.
Yeah. So hopefully, this helps also. Like someone's hearing this and be like, okay, maybe we should rethink our strategy. You're welcome.
There you go. That's it.
No, but this is, once again, I want to publicly thank you, Josh. Like this has been so cool. And I am excited to see like how you and I can kind of, begin to do things in person together. Cause you and I have never actually met like in person. We've never met.
Really? Ever?
Where would we have met?
I thought we met at an MBA event.
No, I've never been to an MBA conference.
What the?
No, yeah, you and I have never like.
There you go. I thought for sure we had met along the way somewhere, but apparently not.
No, not at all. That's
MBA annual. We're already announcing it. MBA annual in Nashville, October. Ooh, don't give me October. I'll get the dates right. I'm pretty sure it's the 20.
You need to publicly announce this so that I can hold you to it.
There we go. We're going to Nashville, ladies and gentlemen.
No, seriously, like I would love we got to take this show on the road.
Let's do it. We're making it happen. So no, kudos to you. And like, there's a huge thank you. You have absolutely earned everything you have. You do an amazing job. Like I said, you have a gift. You have something that so many people are in need of, and you do a brilliant job with it. So thank you for all you do for the women of Shred, for the guests that you bring on every single week, and for the value that you share. So thank you. You're amazing.
Thank you, Josh. And I will at least see you all next Wednesday. Who knows? We might have to have Josh back on.
You never know who's going to show up. That's why you got to be. That's why you got to be here.
Yeah, and honestly, Josh, like back before, I would have been like freaking out and I would have felt badly. Now I'm like, whatever, like, you know, stuff happens. Like, it's okay. Like, it's such a great feeling to just know that, like, you just keep rolling with it and life goes on.
Life goes on. You make hay when the sun's shining, and you just have fun with it and get after it. So, all right, you're awesome. Proud of you.
Thanks everyone.
All right, everybody.